So, Now You See Me, right? The original film, which came out in 2013. Yeah, people, we're going back to the well, as it were. This was directed by Louis Leterrier. It is written by Ed Solomon, Boaz Yakin, and Edward Ricourt. The film is then produced by, let's get to the producing team. Okay, here we go. Robert Orkey, Alex Kurtzman, Bobby Cohen. We then have got, oh gosh, weird. Still stupid computer issues, people, but you know. Okay, that's it with the producers. So then we have got executive producing Boaz Yakin, Stan Waldowski, Michael Schaefer. Associate producing, we have got Julia Spiro, Brian Tucker. On line production, we have Yuki Suga, Guy Riedel, I think that's how you pronounce that one. So yes, that's all of that. We then have got Brian Tyler on the score, Mitchell Amundsen, Larry Fong on cinematography. Editing the piece, we have Vincent Tabillon and Robert Layton. Carmen Cuba is down with the casting. Production design, we have Peter Wenham, Scott Plouch, Jose C. Primol, and Thomas Valentine take care of art direction. Set decoration is Bouchamp Fontaine. Jenny Egan and Marlon Mizari are costume design, wardrobe, all of that. Hair and makeup, we have Dina Adia, Kelly Belmont, Gloria Bells, Maria Lamia Bernard, Joseph A. Campagno, Philomene Corden, Victor De Nicola, Catherine Di Stefano, Christina Favier, Leslie Fuller, Kay Gregu, Stanley Hall, Gudrun Holt, Michael Hancock, Nancy Hancock, Juliette Honold, Renee E. Comte, Nikki Lederman, Lorraine Ligo, Julie Limon, Annabelle McNeil, Celine Martin, David Martinez, Linda Melazzo, Stephanie Pasakoff, Crystal Randall, Rosemary Redlin, Patricia Regan, Jen Rose, James Sarzotti, Julie Sedil, Susan Simone, Kerry Smith, Thomas Tehur, Malaise Anguano Wheat, Samantha M. Capps, Marcos Gonzalez, Rena Grady, Teresa Mara Silexio, John Quaglia, Ladidra Richard Baldwin, and Jamie Ross. Taking care of stunt, we have Stanton Barrett, Hunter Baxley, Tim Bell, Cedric Butler, Sean Paul Brood, Jessica Brodossi, Nikki Brewer, Jill Brown, Chelsea Bruland, Scott Burrick, Nicole Callender, Chris Centepemo, John Centepemo, Alvin Chon, Matt Cipro, Nikki Clark, George B. Coluccio Jr., Danny Cosmo, Javier Diaz, Nicholas Egil, Peter Epstein, Guy Fernandez Jr., Mark Fisher, Christian J. Fletcher, Jeff Galpin, Walter Garcia, Pierre Gardou, Lex D. Geddings, Jerome Galbin, Regis Harrington, Frul Haston, Casey Hedershirt, Zach Henry, Rayon Hill, Vladimir Hobart, Ashley Nicole Hudson, Jerome Hewitt, Chuck Jeffries, Julian Joyner, Keith Kurtz, Tramp Lioli, Josh Lakotos, Nitty Larizoa, Rick Lefeuve, Mark Leterrier, Pascal Liga, Jody Looney, Devon McNair, Mike Majeski, Courtney Mans, Jeff Medeiros, Anthony Malaneri, T. Ryan Mooney, Jonathan Morelli, David Mueller, Josh Mueller, Carl Anthony Nesboli, Mark Norby, Holly O'Quinn, Julian Pickard, Freddie Poole, Stephen A. Pope, Brian H. Rosetto, Eric R. Salsa, Met Sally, Elena Sanchez, Bruce Sanders Jr., Philippe Savage, William Schreif, Laurie Singer, Brian Staff, Eric Stratmere, Tyrone Terrell, Matt Thompson, Trampus Thompson, Eric Van Arsdale, Caroline Vexler, Luke Vexler, Kevin Waterman, John Zimmerman, G.A. Agliere, Nina Armstrong, Bobby Beckles, Nitisha Brambry, Stephen Kashi Brown, Mike Burke, Ann Colton, Victor Chan, Blaze Corrigan, William Cote, Stacey Courtney, Norman Douglas, Seth Dumam, Katie Eshen, Alice Ford, A. Frey, Paul Frazier, David Funk, Jody Pym Gabri, Gregory Allen Gabro, Tim Gallion, Shane Gentry, Jeffrey Lee Gibson, Jim Henry, Chad Hessler, Court Hessler, Rick Hopkins, Stephen Izzy, Cone Kim, Gwyneth E. Larson, Drew Leary, Elton LeBlanc, Roberto Lopez, Samantha McIver, Paul Marini. And there's a lot more. Okay, so our cast. Jesse Eisenberg is J. Daniel Atlas. We have got Isla Fisher as Henley Reeves. Woody Harrelson is Merritt McKinney. Dave Franco is Jack Wilder, and they all make up the Four Horsemen. There is Morgan Freeman as Thaddeus Bradley. Mélanie Laurent is Alma Dray. She's a Interpol agent. Mark Ruffalo is Dylan Rhodes, an FBI agent. Jessica C. Lindsay is Hermia. That's Thaddeus' assistant. Michael Caine is Arthur Tresler. David Warhofsky is Cohen, another FBI agent. Same with Michael Kelly, who's Agent Fuller. Common is Agent Evans. He works with Dylan. Jose Garcia is Etienne Forcia. We have Katronia Balfe plays Jasmine Tresler, Arthur Tresler's wife. And Conan O'Brien as himself. Right. Elias Cortez is Lionel Strike. Right. Another magician who from the past kind of thing, of flashbacks and all of that. That is our main cast. The film, 4 magicians each answer a mysterious summons to an obscure address with secrets inside. A year later, they are the Four Horsemen, big-time stage illusionists who climax their sold-out Las Vegas show with a bank apparently robbed for real. By agents Dylan Rhodes and Interpol Agent Alma Dray on the case to find out how they did it. However, this mystery proves to be difficult to solve, even with the insights of professional illusion exposure Thaddeus Bradley. What follows is a bizarre investigation where nothing is what it seems to be, with illusions, dark secrets, and hidden agendas galore. As all involved are reminded of a great truth in this puzzle. The closer you look, the less you see. Now, this came out in 2013. I remember watching this in the cinema, and I enjoyed it, right? I enjoyed the film. So yeah, right? But now a third installment is coming. It felt right to go back to the beginning, especially as I hadn't watched the second film, right? Because I think I enjoyed the first one, that it kind of finished in a way, although it finishes with them kind of a call to action, right? It kind of felt, that's fine, you know? So a sequel wasn't overly compelling to me, and I never got around to watching it, right? But this first one, as I said, I enjoyed it, right? Thought it was a lot of fun. I think when you look back at it, and especially when you're looking at it with different eyes, right? I think you go to the cinema, you can enjoy things, but when you are looking at the components of, there are definitely flaws in the film. There are like these gaps in the story where you're just like, hold on, yeah, that makes no sense, right? Or why would they do that? You know, there is those things, but, you know, coming back to this film, like, what would it be, 12 years later? It still is enjoyable, right? I think you still watch it and it is fun. There are those things where you're just like, right? Because are these magicians chosen? Because we're not sold that these are the best 4 magicians out there. You know? That we're not sold that is the case. So it's kind of like, okay, why these 4? Also, I think the big thing is, so you taken these 4 people, and it seems that some are bigger than others, right? Like Merritt, it seems like he was big, but he's kind of fallen on hard times, as it were, right? So if that's the case, then what would make the year later show a sold out affair, right? Why are all those people coming to watch this big show, right? Like, I think that's the big kind of thing. You're just like, okay, so a force has brought them together and it is set them on this course to do these things. Why, right? And how do you blow them up? Because they're not doing any tricks, because all the tricks are leading to these things, right? So it's not like they would have done shows before this big one. So then what draws people to this? What makes it a sold out show? Now, obviously, you don't necessarily need these answers to be able to enjoy the film, but it's just one of those things that you kind of think about, right? That it's these things that don't quite make sense, you know? Like, how do they kind of join forces with Tresla, right? Michael Caine's character, right? Because that's not explained at all. Because it is kind of like, it would seem he isn't actually the one financing them. So what is all of that? You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, we go along with it, but once you understand he's not financing, then it's kind of like, so what was that? Right? What was that? There's a lot of, there's not a lot, I was gonna say there's a lot, there's not really a lot, but there are these chase scenes on foot and in car, and I think that it does do that thing, right? And we see it all the time in movies, especially when it comes to chase scenes. You have a bit where someone technically should be a long way ahead, but for, a miraculous reason, the pursuers are right behind them. And you're just like, okay, they started driving a good while before they were able to get in their car and follow. So how could they be just behind them? You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like where that other car came from, they're round the corner. So it's not like you would see their car and go, oh, they're in that. So how? You know what I mean? And again, in this foot race, we have, a character right behind another one. And you're just like, well, that wouldn't be the case. How are they just behind? Right? So there are these things that you do spot, right? And I think you also have that thing of once you see where the film has gone, there are certain things that technically don't quite add up, right? Don't really add up. Because you're just like, okay, why would that person do that? And why would they be so? Because I think in what you're watching, right, there can be that whole thing of pretending to. But in what we watch, there doesn't seem any pretending to. So kind of like, well, then that doesn't really make any sense. Because what would happen if, Because how do you style that out? How would you then, slip? You know what I mean? Like, how? You know what I mean? So there are those things. But it is, the acting is, it's not award winning, but it does all work. Does all work. Like, I would say there's characters that, because it's mainly Jesse Eisenberg's character, The others are there. You know what I mean? Like everyone, they're on screen and all of this, but we don't really get a crazy amount from Dave Franco's or Isla Fisher's characters. And Woody Harrelson's one, he's there, but not getting a whole heap from him. You know what I mean? But from what we do have of them all, yeah, they do play their roles well. You know what I mean? They do play their roles well. You do wonder how does J. Daniel Atlas kind of get to be the head of the group, right? But yeah, there are all of those things. But as I said, everyone plays their roles well. Like we've got Morgan Freeman. I mean, Morgan Freeman's always good, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's always good. I will say, you do feel bad for Jessica C. Lindsay because Hermione doesn't really do anything. You know what I mean? If you removed her from the film's still the film. You know what I mean? Like, that character does seem kind of just there as eye candy or whatever, because there is nothing that she's doing, right? So, I mean, there are a few of those. Michael Kelly plays the role Michael Kelly always plays in things, Like, I wonder if he ever thinks, hey, can I not be the lead for once? You know what I mean? I'm always like the side character. Let me be the lead. But yeah, everyone does a decent job. Well, I was going to say you do wish, but maybe it's just me. But the love aspect of it does kind of feel like it's out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It's just like, well, that's a man, that's a woman, so I guess we have them fall in love. You know what I mean? That's what it seems like. Because you're just like, wait, why? Why are they gonna fall in love? Right? There's nothing in the film that's like, oh, right. It's just man, woman, we need a love interest bit. Let's throw these two together. That's what that seems like, But I think the draw of the film essentially is the magic, because magic can be fun. It definitely can be. When done well, magic can be fun, right? You think of films like The Prestige, and there was The Illusionist, right? The one with, oh my gosh, what's his name? Edward Norton. Yes. And which came out, I think, it was just after The Prestige, I believe. Or around about the same, they both came out the same year, around about the same time. But no one seemed to talk about The Illusionist. It was all about The Prestige, Christopher Nolan. Now, The Prestige is freaking great, and it is the better of the two films. But The Illusionist is still good, right? Saying The Prestige is the better of the two, that's not saying The Illusionist is whack, right? It's still a good film. So a good film about magic is fun. And Now You See Me is fun, right? So it's not groundbreaking. It's not award winning. But, taking everything away, right? Some of the holes in the plot and all of that, it is fun. And that's all you need sometimes, right? Something that is fun. Something where you can get lost in a story for an hour and a half. Well, I think it's just over an hour and a half. What is this film? I think it is. I think I can actually check. It's literally just over 2 hours, right? So it doesn't really drag. You know what I mean? There are, it rolls over nicely. And yeah, you need those films. So if you enjoy magic, if you enjoy fun stories that you don't have to think too tough about, right? The film itself does all the heavy lifting, explaining, this trick and that and blah, blah, blah. So this one, you can just lose yourself and just enjoy. Kick back and enjoy. And if that's what you want, people, then the original Now You See Me will hit the spot. So yes, Now You See Me.